From the Massachusetts Broadcasters Station of the Year, this is Western Mass News at 6 p.m.
A Western Mass News exclusive. Police now investigating claims of dumped school lunches in Springfield. We're getting answers.
And one Chicopee restaurant owner is responding after claims that his employees weren't following proper COVID-19 protocols, how he's defending himself and his business.
A Northampton resident stopped paying his property taxes in hopes of his road getting repaved. I'm Kaylee Puglisi, and coming up on Western Mass News, I'll have the details.
We begin with a follow-up to an exclusive story we brought to you earlier this week. Police are now looking into those claims by a local landlord that she found hundreds of meals dumped into a dumpster over the course of several weeks. Good Thursday evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Pisano.
And I'm Jordyn Jagolinzer. Those meals had Springfield Public School labels on them and were intended to feed families in need. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo joins us live in Springfield with the details. Audrey?
So the dumped food wasn't found in to-go bags. So school officials are confident that it wasn't left behind by a family who may have visited a pickup site like this one. Now, the landlord I spoke with today says she just wants to see the wasted food end.
The outrage of the waste of food in times of need like this.
Jill Johnson says she's heard from dozens of people after sharing what she discovered in her building's private dumpster. Johnson, who didn't want to appear on camera, showed Western Mass News pictures of boxes and boxes of bulk packaged meals from the Springfield Public School District. She claims on 4 separate occasions someone threw the food in her Indian Orchard dumpster. One of those times, she says, is captured here in this video. The food had 2021 expiration dates. Jill says someone recognized the car.
We did have somebody come forward that was able to identify the person on the video tentatively. I can't say. The police are following up to make sure.
Springfield police say they also saw our story and wanted to get to the bottom of the situation.
When you see that, it's the police's responsibility to go and at least speak to the victim and attempt to identify the person responsible.
Police spokesperson Ryan Walsh says the department has been cracking down on illegal dumping and has cameras set up across the city.
The fine can range anywhere from $100 to $1,000.
Johnson says her primary concern is making sure valuable food and resources don't end up in the garbage.
I'm sure there's seniors that are stuck at home. There could be homeless people that could use these meals. Can we reallocate them?
A sentiment the police can get behind.
There's always someone in need. So before you try to dispose of it yourself, seek out any alternative options.
We reached out to Springfield school officials to see if they've identified where in the chain of distribution this food may be going astray. They did actually reach out to me and ask for more information about the food. We'll continue to keep you posted on what they may find. Reporting live in Springfield, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
I think they're witnessing incredible irresponsibility, incredibly damaging messages being sent to the rest of the world about how democracy functions. And I think it is well, I don't know his motive, but I just think it's totally irresponsible.
President-elect Joe Biden with harsh words for President Trump today, who continues to fight the election results. During a briefing, Biden said he and his transition team are being prevented from seeing all the information they need for a smooth transition.
Also developing today, 1 week before Thanksgiving, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is advising Americans not to travel for the holiday. That agency making the comments during a conference call today. The recommendation comes as coronavirus cases surge throughout the U.S. The CDC says traveling right now could spread the virus from one part of our country to another. And we asked you, our Western Mass News viewers, if this new guidance from the CDC would stop you from traveling this Thanksgiving. The results? More than half of you, just over 54%, say yes, the guidance will stop you. 43.5% saying no. Nearly 2.5% say they're not sure.
The state releasing its latest COVID-19 risk map today. Springfield remaining a high-risk community for the 3rd week in a row under the new metrics. Other Western Mass communities in the red, you can see there on your screen. They include Chicopee, Holyoke, Hamden, Ludlow, Southwick, and West Springfield. And taking a look now at the latest coronavirus case numbers in the state over the last 5 days, the Department of Public Health reports more than 2,500 new cases today. This brings the total number of confirmed cases in the Bay State to more than 192,000. The state also seeing 27 new deaths today. The statewide death toll now stands at 10,204.
Our look into COVID-19 violations against restaurants around Western Mass now turns to the city of Chicopee.
Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis obtained new information and has the very latest.
Here in Chicopee, the #1 violation has been face masks not being properly worn at restaurants. Now, one owner I spoke to says the written notice he received stemmed from a complaint.
An anonymous person called up and said that people, they weren't wearing masks. So I don't know who my accuser or who called up.
The owner of Jocko's Place, William Santinello, speaking with Western Mass News about the COVID-19 written notice he received from the Chicopee Health Department last month. The paperwork obtained by Western Mass News says the city found customers at Jocko's Place not properly wearing face coverings, social distancing, or ordering food with their alcoholic beverages. But Santinello thinks this complaint stemmed from a rival business.
I feel it's a competitor or somebody who's unfortunately not open or sees that I'm open and either called the health department and said that people aren't wearing masks.
At Jocko's Place, there are signs that say people must order food, stay 6 feet apart, and wear a mask. The Chicopee Health Director tells Western Mass News in a statement, these notices were sent as the result of a complaint either through an email, a phone call, and sometimes from the Department of Labor. No business received a fine. Our main goal is to educate. But Santinello says he'd like to know more about the complaint process.
Anybody could come here and say they, somebody's not wearing a mask. I'd like to know who's saying it and confront that person.
Jocko's Place isn't alone. Since May, the Chicopee Health Department has issued 40 face covering violations. Of those, 2 restaurants received a second notice of violation, but no fines have been issued. One restaurant cited twice is Brothers Pizza, first in June. Then in October, a second notice of violation states employees are still not properly wearing face coverings. Romano's Pizza also receiving 2 notices of violation, first in July, then again in October. In their letter from the city also stating that employees are still not properly wearing face coverings. Now, we reached out to both Brothers and Romano's, but both declined to comment. In Chicopee, Leon Purvis, Western Mass News.
Well, early this morning, temperatures dipped into the middle teens, not quite record-breaking, thank goodness, but it's going to be a big swing as we head into tomorrow, the afternoon high approaching 60. So a nice way to end the week after some chilly temperatures in recent days. Now, we do have a fair sky out there at the moment. Actually, it's mostly clear, so you can head outside and check out some of those stars. We already talked about the moon very close to Saturn and Jupiter tonight in the southwestern sky. You can check that out, too. There is a bit of a wind chill, 35 degrees right now is the real feel, but we're at 40 currently in Springfield with breezes out of the southwest at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now, we do have some middle 30s already happening in the hill towns and some upper 30s through the Berkshires. Greenfield and Orange are both down to 39, and so is Holyoke and Palmer. So it is chilly out there tonight. Breezes will stay out of the south at about 5 to 15 miles an hour during the overnight and through tomorrow morning. Temperatures are going to stay fairly steady. They may actually dip a little bit and then start to climb again as we get closer to midnight as cloud cover starts increasing, and we are expecting a mostly cloudy sky overnight. Here's a look at that graphic I was talking about. There's the moon, Saturn, and Jupiter. A little bit of a triangle here that you can check out. As far as tomorrow's forecast goes, we will start off cool but warm quickly. We'll have some scattered cloud cover in the morning, followed by good sunshine in the afternoon with highs jumping again to near 60. We'll take a look at how your weekend is shaping up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Janna, thank you. Now to a story you'll see only here on Western Mass News. A Northampton man angry about conditions on his street and is trying to get his voice heard by not paying his property taxes.
Western Mass News reporter Kaylee Pugliese has that story.
A Northampton resident has lived on Beatty Drive for about 6 years. He hasn't paid his property tax in about a year, and he tells me this is because the city hasn't paved the road that he lives on.
I was so desperate, I couldn't get any attention from anybody.
John Martin has been putting up a fight with the city about the condition of his street for almost a year, asking them to completely repave it, calling the process a humbling experience. He started out feeling angry, but then eased up after city officials told him there just wasn't funding for it.
The street is disintegrating, and it has been for many years, way before I moved here.
The city telling him Beatty Drive isn't as high up on their priority list of roads to fix. Western Mass News checked in with the city and found Loudville Road, which you see here, and Atwood Drive, also seen here, are next in line for repair. Martin is working on raising money himself within the community to get the road paved, which he says could cost about $100,000, something he says can't be done until 2022 at the earliest. But by not paying his taxes, it's possible he could lose his house, a risk he's willing to take.
I tried everything I could think of to get everyone's attention. When I stopped paying my taxes, I suddenly started to get a lot of attention. I don't like to dwell on that. I would really rather try to come up with a solution as to how we can get the road paved.
The mayor's office declined to comment, but Martin tells me he won't start paying his property tax until the road is repaved. In Northampton, Kaylee Pugliese for Western Mass News.